long-term care rider together as a package. And it can actually do multiple things at once. If we will need long-term care, we can use the money for long-term care. If we don't need the long-term care, we can use it for retirement as a living benefit, tax-free. And if we use half of it, we have the other half for our children. So that's why insurance industry has evolved from simply a protection to multiple usage for your money. Let's think about this. If life insurance has evolved, what is it similar to? Actually, the history of life insurance is like the phone you see here. Do you remember this phone? I remember when my mom used this phone all the time talking to her client. This is a huge cell phone, and the only thing it does is what? Phone call. One phone, this is only a one purpose, only call, is making a call. Right now, what do we have on our hand? It's a computer, literally, right? Who will think that this happens in a matter of, what, 20-some years or less than that, right? So yes, if cell phone evolves, insurance evolves as well. This is the evolution of life insurance in the US. Term life insurance is one of the most well-known protection for many families. Term life, the only thing it does is protection, just like your old phone. And in the 50s and around 70, the end of 70 and beginning of 80s, we have two types of life insurance that's pretty popular at the time. It's called a permanent death, it focuses on permanent death benefit for the first two. And when it comes to the 80s and 90s, insurance has evolved into living benefit. The difference between these two is that we now, starting from the development of variable universal life and index universal life, both of these started to have a cash accumulation within the product itself. So what we can do is we can utilize the money while we are living. Let's take a look at the most modern index universal life as an example. Let's say the gray line over here is the SP 500 historical data from year 2000 to year 2017. Within those years, we experienced two financial crises. 2001, dot-com bubble, 2008, real estate bubble. Now, if you invested in index, it will show you that the account dropped and you take some time to get up, right? And you definitely have to spend the time to wait for it to come back. And so in average, SP 500 from 2000 to 2017 give you a return about 4.24%. If you use index universal life as a vehicle, it uses SP 500 as a benchmark. So whenever it grows with the SP to a cap. Cap is at 12%, and it has a floor. It never dropped the value. So I remember Warren Buffett says, rule number one, how to make money, is to never lose your principal. And do you know what's the rule number two? Do not forget rule number one. Always remember that, right? So never lose your principal. And in here, index universal life become utilizing these ideas. So it actually have a 0% as a floor. So when everything dropped, like 2001 and 2008, IUL doesn't drop. Based on this illustration, IUL actually have close to 7%, even experience twice economic crisis. Isn't this powerful? So let's take a look at how IUL as an asset class in our family planning. We have CD and savings all the way to this side, which is very conservative and safe in the family. Usually we put it in a bank, right? Does it grow? No, but it's very safe. On the other end is individual stock and mutual fund. Who will actually, when we buy these, we wanted to catch the market high. But it's also very, very risky. Why is that? 2008, right? 2001 happened again, we're gonna lose it all. So in fact, when I first came to this platform, I have this and I have this. I don't have anything in the middle. So when I was introduced to IUL, I realized I should balance out my portfolio in my house. So IUL is a mid-risk, mid-return type of product. It helps me to strategize my financial planning for my family. You should not put all the money on one side or the other. We should kind of allocate it throughout this portfolio. Diversify is the key, like Susan said, right? Now, the benefit of permanent life insurance have several, and now we do a summarize for this. One is we want the income protection. This is for a replacing of a loose income. It's a very important key factor. We are the golden goose who's laying the golden egg. So who should be protected? The goose or the egg?
Goose.
The goose, yes. So definitely remember that, right? This is one income protection, number one. Tax-free growth. The tax is growing within IUL, which is income, tax-free. When we take it out, it's also tax-free. And also, it's a very friendly vehicle for financial aid. It also is good for asset transferring and legal protection. Depending on which states you live in, there's a certain amount of allowance for legal protection within IUL. Long-term care protection is number one, top priority when I first purchased IUL. Is long-term care. So all the mothers here, I feel you. And 4 years ago, I joined this platform. I was looking for something, somebody, or a group of people, anyone. I was looking for something. People can tell me all of these. I cannot find anyone like that in the past 20 years. My family talking to accountant, figure out the taxes, and my family is talking to a lawyer to figure out about will and trust asset planning. We actually have a term life insurance a long time ago when I had my first baby. I talked to an agent, and I no longer know where the agent is. We do some investment, and who do we talk to? Our coworker or Google. I talked to Google about investment. So I didn't have anyone who can do a summary for me, who can analyze the whole situation in a more professional way. 4 years ago, I was lucky. my mentor, Vicky, she was introduced by a friend, came to my house and sit down and do analysis for me, find out the solution as a whole. I was so happy someone can step into my life, come to my house. I don't have to take a day off. I don't have to dress up. I don't have to go through the traffic, go to Manhattan, look for someone in the financial world. This person becomes my friend, becomes my mentor. And we found here. I was very happy my family got taken care of. And I was drawn to this mission. Wealthy people plan for 3 generations, while poor people plan for Saturday night. This is something I wanted to pass on to my children, generation and generation. And I was very, very lucky. My friend and my mentor was brave enough and encouraged me all the way to show me the opportunity that I can have. Besides a scientist, I can actually change my life, change my career path to someone that I never able to dream of before. I have 15 years in science background. I was teaching in universities in California. I was doing research throughout my life. I work with animals. I don't talk to people. I talk to rats. My life was very, very simple, and I enjoyed it. Until I realized if my family was helped tremendously, if a simple family like me can have such an impact, how many other families out there needed us? They are looking for us. So it becomes a new ideas for me, and I want to find out, maybe I can help out people. I can help out, I learn, and I help them. And it may become a new opportunity for me. So simply as that, I decided to join and learn. If you are looking for something to break through in your life, to try something new, this is the place. Next, we wanted to introduce a very good mentor for all of us here. She is very well experienced in this industry. She's $1 million earner right now. And when I first joined the platform, I already know that she's the role model I wanted to follow. She has very kind heart, warm heart, and work hard, has high integrity and honesty. Here, I will let's welcome Sunny, our SEVC from Chicago.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, all right. So first of all, this is a Sunday morning, and most people during weekend, they know what they're gonna do. They stay home, right? Maybe they watch TV, they relax. But you guys chose to come over on a Sunday morning, so give yourself a big hand. We also say that do today what others won't, so you can have tomorrow what others don't, right? So today, I wanted to come to share a little bit about the opportunities that we provide from our company. So because in China, there's a saying, they say that if I give you a fish to eat, I feed you for a day. But if I can teach you how to fish, then I feed you for the rest of the life. Isn't that right? Okay. So I feel very, very grateful that 13 years ago that I was introduced to this company, to this industry, and it completely transformed my life. So just a little bit of my background. Actually, can you still still recognize me? So that was me and my husband. So in 2001, I came over for my master's degree in computer science. And then, so I met my husband in Chicago. Then after we both graduated, both of us, we went to work for a big corporation as a sound engineer. So this was my cubicle back then. You can see that. So after working for corporate America for 2 years, I started to realize corporate America, there's always a glass ceiling. A lot of things I was not in control. So that's when I started to look for an opportunity. Unfortunately, one of our friends from Harvard University, he introduced the senior manager of this company to me. So he came all the way from Pennsylvania to Chicago. We had a dinner first, and then afterwards he came to my home. And he basically shared with us what you guys just heard today, you know, who we are, what this company is doing, and then so I learned some financial concept, and then right afterwards I was like, hey Peter, nobody taught me how money works and how tax works before. Can I learn from this? Can I be one of your students? Of course, I asked him what it takes, how much does it cost if I wanted to pay if I wanted to come to learn, what's the tuition, right? So he told me that, Sunny, if you want to come to learn, then there's just a one-time registration fee, which is $100. And then I was like, just $100? I'm going to learn so much. So right away, no hesitation. And then I registered and I started the learning process. That's how I kind of get involved with the financial industry and the business here. So I always told my friend, you know what, that $100 that I paid 30 years ago is the best investment that I did in the United States because it gave me a life-changing opportunity. So talking about opportunity, so I'd like to all of you who came here for the first time to remember, if you forget everything beyond this point, right? So just remember this, the opportunities that we provide here, there are two opportunities. There's the opportunity to learn and opportunity to earn, okay? Now talking about opportunity to learn, as I just shared, so in our company, we have offices around different states. So we have office trainings. And then in the office training, and we also have conference calls as well to teach people how money works. So today, you just learned some of the overviews, right? Some higher level financial concepts. But then in detail, like every day, for example, usually like twice a week, we have office training. We train on these two categories. One is the financial concepts. For example, like investment basics, like retirement, insurance, IUL, education funding, real estate, and estate planning, tax planning, all that. Don't you think that every family needs to learn about this? So back then, I remember like when I joined the company, I told myself, even the worst case scenario, let's say I'm not, even like in the future, I may not be able to do the business, but however, worst case, I get to manage my own finance better. Don't you agree? Okay. So then, and another category is the softer skill. That's the intangible part. The softer skill, for example, like how to understand human nature, how to communicate better, and let's say how to do presentation, public speaking. Like back then, if you can see in the picture back then, that I showed you, I was very shy. I was kind of introverted person. I never think that I could do people business actually. And back then, if I am standing on the stage to speak, I would be so nervous, right? I would be very, very scared. But now, after all these years, in the past few years, I was able to even speak in company convention around in front of 30,000 people. So it's all through what? Practice and practice and practice in this business. So you can learn about that, okay? And also, of course, we train about, for example, IQ, EQ, AQ, and LQ. You guys well know what's IQ, right? What is IQ? Intelligence quotient. What is EQ? Is EQ important? Okay, emotion quotient, right? And then what is AQ? AQ is what? Adversity quotient. How can you rise above the adversities? Now, what is LQ? The love quotient. Love quotient. Before, back then, I didn't know what is love quotient. Now, through the business, I started to learn about that. One day I got a message from one of my managers in New Jersey, and the first message that I got from her, and she said, "Oh, Sunny, this is make me so mad." And then I got this message from another colleague, and how could she say things like that? It made me so emotional, and then it's like how to say it? This person, they wronged me, and it just made me feel so bad. Okay, so she was like, I can literally feel from that text message she's very, very emotional when she got that message. How could she say things in a way like that. Okay? But then, after a couple of hours, I got another message from her, and she said this. She said, Sunny, as I was driving from New Jersey from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, I started to calm down, and I started to think about, you know what? Okay, instead of thinking about what's not good from that person, being emotional, but I started to think about put myself in her shoes. I started to understand her situation, understand why she says things in that way, and I started to fill my heart with gratitude, with understanding, and I started to, kind of learn to tolerate and then learn to have a bigger heart, to understand her. So then, after that, I sent her another message, full of gratitude and full of love. And she told me that, Sunny, also, I remembered one time in the convention, you said 2 words in the convention. And that's also the 2 words that I got from my mentor as well. It's this 2 words. She told me, I remember you said unconditional love. Unconditional love. And that is love quotient. Love quotient. Now, sometimes I think if I can pass on these things to my daughter, okay, I have 2 kids. I have a daughter 6 years old. I have also a son who is like 8 months old right now. So I'm thinking that if I can pass these things to the next generation, then I told myself that I can then I will have a peace of heart, peace of mind when I pass away. If I can, that's the best thing that I think we can give to the next generation. Don't you agree? Okay. Now talking about the opportunity to earn, we have to talk about, because this is a business. So talking about opportunity to earn, I used to think this is the only way to make money, which is through employment. I used to be a software engineer. So, and then back then I remember my parents always told me, and other friends always told me, Sunny, you have to work for a big company, okay, and you get a full-time job. Not finding those contract job or contract to full-time. You have to find a full-time job in a big company, because then your income will be stable. Okay, so is the employment income really stable? So then I took a look at this chart. You know what? Usually when people, let's say, you may get some salary raise, right, over the years, but normally the peak is when you're at 50 to 54. And then afterwards it may even go down. Have you ever heard any of your friends who got laid off after 50? Okay, I have many of those stories actually. Okay, they say, especially in IT field, back then I was in IT, they said that usually when you're getting older and older, your market value goes down, right? So, but then at this age, it's usually the time when you actually want your income to be stable the most, don't you agree? Because that's when your kids started to go to college. However, and that's when some people will start your income could go down, and you could lose your job. There's no job security nowadays. So then, I remember when I started this business, my mentor asked me to read this book. It's called Rich Dad and Poor Dad. Okay, how many of you heard about this book? Okay, many of you. So they're talking about, there are 4 types of people in this world, representing 4 sources of income. There's employee. I used to be employee. You exchange time for money, right? You have a job, but you could lose your job. And the minute you stop working, do you still make money? You don't. Okay. Now, self-employed, like a CPA or attorney or real estate agent, you also exchange time for money. You do not have your boss. You are your own boss, right? So it's flexible, which is good. However, the minute you stop working, do you still make money? You do not, right? And your income will be capped because you are the only one that's working. Okay. Now, business owner like Bill Gates. If Bill Gates doesn't work today, does he still make money? He still do, right? Why? Because there are people working for him. Isn't that right? There's a team. He builds a team. So then I realized, you know what? Any business builds a team. Any business builds a team. And investors like Warren Buffett, you have money working for you, right? And when money working for you, it's also 24/7. Isn't that right? Okay. So if you take a look at the people on the left and people on the right, let me ask you, which side are there more people? Left side or the right side?
Left side.
The left side, right? But which side are there more money?
Right
The right side, right? Okay. So then the left side, they're 95% of the population, but only own 5% of the wealth. But on the right side, they're only 5% of the population, but own 95% of the wealth. So to the right side. And fortunately, this company provided a platform that I can go from the left side to the right side. As a matter of fact, the company gave us two career paths. One career path is I could be a self-employed, just like a traditional advisor, right? I provide services, then I could also have financial reward. Okay, just like in a real estate agent, in a real estate you could be an agent, right? Meaning that you just sell houses and you can make commission, right? But however, in a real estate, can you be a broker? Meaning that if you're a broker, you build an agency, isn't that right? You build an agency, you can train several agents. So when these agents go sell houses, does the broker makes money? It does, right? It does. So the same thing, in our company, I could either choose to be a self-employed, but also I could also build an agency as well. The company allowed me to build an agency, I can train agents as well. So, and then when the agents, when they become independent, and then when they can help families, does the broker makes money? We do, right? Okay. So that's why, just to give all of you who are new, just a very quick peek into our income potential in here. For example, this example just shows you a very, a small account. Let's say if you help a family, a 40-year-old male open, let's say an IUL account. I'm sure Teresa just introduced about the 770 to IUL. Just use that as an example. If you help a family save just $185, less than $200 a month into that account, that financial vehicle. Okay, how many families do you know that can save at least $200 a month? Many families, right? Okay, so anyhow, so this is a very small account, very small account. So let's say if you are an entry-level position in our company, let's say you're an associate, okay? You got your license, starting pay position. If you help 4 families, like open up 4 of these accounts in a month, meaning that just one sale, one account per week, and that roughly you will make about close to $50,000 extra a year. Now I don't say extra by accident, because what? Helping one family open a small account like that probably takes about 3 hours. Okay, it needs a little bit of education. It needs a little time for the paperwork, right? Okay, so, but then it's roughly about 3 hours to help. But of course, you got to learn something. You take some trainings beforehand so that you can become independent, right? So 3 hours a week. I do not know anybody who do not have 3 hours a week, if that means $50,000 extra a year. Don't you agree? Okay. Now, if you are with the company a little bit longer, you have a little bit more experiences and you know more about paperwork, then you get a higher contract level. So meaning that with the same amount of work, just one account per week, same amount of work, roughly you can make $85,000 a year. Okay. See, most people in our company, a lot of people, they started on a part-time basis, and you can make this amount of income on a part-time basis too. Okay, but then that's also what most people, they consider to turn part-time into full-time in our business. Now let's talk about management. Let's say if you're a senior marketing director, as I said, the manager's level, right? If you're a senior marketing director, as I said, if you chose to build an agency, the company allows you to build an agency. If you build an agency and you train the 5 people on your team to do the same thing, okay? So as an agency, if each of you guys help one family a week, now 1 account a week, so 4 accounts a month, right? Each of you. Now then, your income will be roughly about over $250,000 a year. You know, first time when I saw this, I couldn't believe it. I was like, because back then I was an IT consultant. I made about $120,000 a year. That's my salary. Okay. So when I saw this, I was like, how could it be? You know, I worked like 60 hours, 70 hours a week. Yet, I was making like less than half of this amount. So I had to go out and research on different industry and find out, why it's like too good to be true, right? So then, you know what I found out? Some things just pays more than the others. I was in the wrong industry. It's just like financial industry, it is the highest paid industry because that's where the money is, right? Common sense. Okay. However, as I said, because the company gave us a platform to build a business in here. Now, thinking about if you do not only just train 5 people, what if you can train 10 people, 20 people, 100 people? Then the income is unlimited. Okay. So that's why in our company, if you check the the income statistic, this is not the most updated number. I know that, seven-figure earner about company. I never thought about seven-figure before. Making seven-figure before. But then I feel so grateful that because of the business platform, in 2014, I became one of them. In our company, I think right now, the most updated number, we should have like more than 80 millionaires. Like when I say millionaire, it's not like their asset is 1 million. It's like their annual income is 1 million, more than $1 million. So that's why I remember like back then, beginning of this year, we were in Hawaii trip. Then they had a millionaire club meeting, right? So we all went in, and I went in, I feel so humbled. You know why? Because I was thinking like in corporate America, very few people can actually make seven-figure a year. And even if there are a few, most people, they are usually Caucasian. You will see very few like Asian people or whatever, Like I'm from Chinese, you will see very little Chinese people. And then when I walk into that millionaire club meeting, by the way, first of all, I feel so humbled because I'm probably the least money making, like the income in that group. There are people who are making $2 million a year, $3 million, $5 million, even more than $10 million a year. Sometimes I think why? Sometimes people say, hey, Sunny, like you make a lot of money, but then you still, these people in this company, they still stay so humbled. Because you know what? It's association. Because when I walk into that room, there's so many people, they're much more successful than I am, yet they're still so humble and so grounded. Then I told myself, there's no reason why I shouldn't be humbled and still keep that learning spirit. Okay. See, but then sometimes I saw like before, even for me, like before, I was in corporate America, I feel like, oh, you look around, right? Everybody, pretty much my friends, they make less money than I was. I tend to have a high ego. But now, when I make more, but my association become different, then actually it make me even more humble. Okay, so that's why I realized, who we know is much more important than what we know. So our association, who we associate ourselves with, is so critical. Now, so I feel so grateful instead of all these years, instead of have an income curve like this, I had an income over the past, over the past 13 years, I have an income growth like this. But then in business, that it's not like at the beginning, right away, you make a lot of money, right? It doesn't need hard work at the very beginning. Like I take a look, my first 6 years in the business, I made a total of $600,000. But my second 6 years, I made a total of $6 million. So and then I realized, if I work as a software engineer, there's no possibility that I could have this kind of income growth. Only business can give you this kind of compounding in the income. Don't you agree? But one thing that I realized, I realized that money is just a byproduct of personal improvement and personal change. So probably the biggest earning that I have from the business is actually the personal growth. Now I feel also so grateful that even in this room, we have a few millionaires sitting in here. Do you guys know? So you guys should feel very lucky that you come over today. then maybe I will have them to share a little bit. Okay, so you learn from them. You guys can learn from them. They're my very good friends, and I learned tremendously from them as well. Now, once we have money, then one thing that I learned from my mentor and the company's philosophy is that then we give back. Then when we have money, they say that when money is in good people's hands, then it becomes a good thing, right? Okay, it's something good, that you can do good things to others as well. So I love this company's philosophy. They say that no organization is truly become successful unless they give back to the community. So like last year, I know that, that Houston had a hurricane, right? So our company, for every $1 that we donate, the company matches 100%. So we have a lot of people, they donated a lot of money. So as an organization, we donated $220,000 to Houston. So that's why when the mayor of Houston received the fund that day, we are the number one, we're the organization who donated the most money to Houston as an organization. So that's why the mayor of the Houston proclaimed that day, November 19, 2017, to be World Financial Group Day. So basically, use our company's name to name that day. So with that, I feel very proud to be part of the company. And of course, over in this company, we also participated in a lot of quite several charity projects. This is in my hometown, Hunan. You know, if you guys know, I don't know if anybody from my hometown, Hunan, Henyang. There's an orphanage center, and we have been. I know that many managers here, we have been sponsoring that orphanage center for years, and seeing all these kids, they are able to grow. They're just like the regular kids. And then, so they again tell me that, you know what, when we are put on this earth, we're not just, do things only just for ourselves, for the comfort, you know, for the happiness of ourselves. Can we do something more, you know? And then I believe that God put out on this earth, not only just for ourselves, it's also to help others as well. So, now over the years, many people, so they always ask, hey, what is the secret? Sunny, what is the secret? Can you share with us? And then I always think of this book. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Anybody heard about this book? It's a very, very famous book. It's probably the most translated book other than Bible. Okay, it's a very, very classic book about success principle. It's written by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill. He got inspired by Andrew Carnegie, who's a billionaire. So basically, he interviewed many successful people during that time, many multi-millionaires and then billionaires. And so he wants to find out what's the common quality of these successful people. So he wrote 13 volumes of book. I think it's about 13 volumes of book called Law of Success. And he put all the essence of those books into one book called Think and Grow Rich. And this book also made him a millionaire. And I know that many millionaires of America quoted this book, talk about this book, and then they apply the principles of this book. So in this book, you see the name of this book is called Think and Grow Rich. It is not learn and grow rich. It is not working hard and grow rich. Isn't that right? So I realized if people want to ask me what's the secret, and I really think that it's not our condition, or it's not our educational level, or how smart we are, that's going to determine our success. It is truly the way we think. It is also the decisions that we make that shape our destiny. So now talking about thinking, for example, over the last 13 years, there are a lot of my old beliefs or old thinking has been changed. Okay? Now, for example, I used to have employee thinking, working for someone, right? And employee thinking would think about, I myself has to be very, very strong, smart, and working hard. And I still remember back then I got a lot of certificate, Microsoft certificate, right? You think that you get more certificate, you get higher education, then you will be better off, okay? But then later on, I realized, you know what? Employee thinking, you try to be yourself, like being smart and hardworking. But then as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it's not about personal. It's not just about personal effort. It's about how can you build a team and how can you leverage other people's wisdom and effort and working together and then do something great. And it's not working for someone. It's like how do you have people working for you or working with you? It's a teamwork. Now, I used to be close-minded, okay? Or now I became more open-minded. Before I think about, I'm shy, I'm introverted, I don't think I can do it, right? But now sometimes some people tell me, Sunny, I'm too busy, my work is too demanding, I don't have time for this. However, and then I realized, you know what? Most of the time, the reason why you think you cannot do something is exactly the reason why you should do it. Okay? Say, I'm too busy, my work is too, I have to work extra hours, and then I'm too demanding, but you know what? Is that what you want out of your life? Do you want to be busy like that the rest of your life? Now, see, that's why the ultimate things that can set people for free, and a lot of times people do not have time for it. Don't you agree? Okay? So can we be a little more open-minded? Back then, I think that, you know what? I'm bad at the communication. I'm bad with people. Well, that's exactly the reason why I wanted to come to this business. Because then I wanted to improve it. Okay? I wanted to have a better environment so that I can improve my communication. Okay? And then work for money versus money work for you, right? Different thinking. School education versus self-education, different They die when they're 25, but they don't just get around burying themselves until they're 75. Okay, meaning that most of the people, after they get out of the college, then they stop growing, they stop learning new things. Okay, self-education. I really think this business for me is the best platform for self-education. Okay, for personal growth. Self-paced is about self-capability or team capability. I cannot do it versus how can I do it? Different thinking, don't you agree? If one day, how many of you are parents in here? If one day you're working, with your kids in Manhattan, for example, and your kids saw that Empire State Building, right? And then your kids ask you, Mom, I want to own a building like that in the future. Then what are you going to say to your kids? Maybe most of parents was, daydreaming, right? How can you own, there's no way you can own a building like that. However, if you change to another way of thinking, then now if my kids ask that, I will say, okay, great, great. Think about how can you own a building like that in the future. Don't you agree? Don't you think that that's going to have a totally different impact and inspiration to your kids? So it's all about different thinking, and different thinking will determine a different life, a different destiny. Okay, so it's all about thinking is the hardest thing to change. We all have our own belief and own way of thinking, but can we be more open-minded? Now, the biggest, as I said, learning in this business is that I learned to empty my cup, and I started to learn from people who are much more successful than I am, and those people who have a kind of life, a great life that I desire to have. So that I empty my cup, I put down my ego, then I get to learn. I learn from them. I learn from their thinking. So over the years, it's because my thinking started to change. That's why my life started to change. Okay? So, lastly, for all of you who came here for the first time, I hope like all of you, after all these things that we shared today, okay, I hope you had some answers to at least 3 questions in here. Now, number 1, do you know someone who could benefit from the message you heard today? Don't you think? Do you know someone? Yes? Yes, right? Now, the second is, can this information help you, your family, and your friends financially? Is that a yes? It's a yes, right? Now, number 3 is, are you intrigued by the business? Yes? Yeah? Some of you nodded on your head. Okay. So, with the closing, I do want to invite, as I said, a few millionaires of this room. Can I have, let's say Hai Hong and then Sophia? Who else is she in here? I don't know if she is here, my mentor. Okay, then maybe Hai Hong and Sophia. Let's welcome another 2 millionaires in the house. So let's have them to share a little bit of their story. Okay, my great friends, in the business.
Okay, good morning. My name is Hai Hong, and actually, I listened to this seminar in 2002 when I was a graduate student. How many of you are still students right now here? Nobody? Okay, just one. And I think I'm a different student. So I know the reason I started this business 15 years ago because I want to learn the world-class education about how money works. And I did got this education from this platform. So for the last 15 years, I know the market up and down. And I got my job, and I bought a house, and I invest money, and I have children. And I know there are maybe a lot of decades, years ahead. Because of the education I got from this platform, I'm very optimistic about my future finance, and I'm very optimistic about my kids' finance and the generation by generation. So that's the one reason I want to, join the platform 15 years ago. And I'm so grateful about the friends who invited me to this seminar 15 years ago. Because of his care, I was invited, and my whole life got changed. So I encourage you, okay, after this seminar, if you think the information you got very useful, can you please say thank you to the friends who invite you. And another reason I joined this business because I want financial freedom. Because I know freedom is not only about the finance and also about the time. Only through this platform I can own my own business. If you own your own business, you can have the freedom, not only financially, but also the time wisely. And the third reason, I love this business because through this, all these resources, not only I can help my own family, I can help families I care. So that's the reason I sit down with the trainer, I sit down with the manager, and start to plan my future with them. So I urge you to make a solid appointment with the manager, with the trainer, who you and then talk about future finance. Thank you very much.
Who are the first time listen to the presentation this morning? Wow, welcome, right? I remember I listened to the same presentation about 9 years ago, and I was an engineer in IBM, and people work for corporate America right now. How you like your job, right? Yeah. So 9 years ago, I listened to the presentation. I think $100 that sign up have an opportunity to learn. Do you feel you learned a lot this morning? And also an opportunity to earn, right? So that's no brainer. So I signed up right away. So I learned a lot and set up a solid financial plan for my family. And I'm a mother of two right now, and I feel very peaceful,